Hey folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Mike Messier here on one Mike Messier YouTube channel. I was planning on doing a couple of film reviews, and I will do those film reviews in just a moment. But some sad news from the world of pop culture, entertainment. Matthew Perry, best known for Chandler, the character of Chandler on Friends, has passed away. So, he was a good actor. That sitcom was a lot of fun. And I know I didn't listen to his whole audiobook, but I did hear some selections from it. And it was not that long ago that he wrote his memoirs. And he basically just kind of explained, he's had addiction issues for quite some time, even going back to Friends and probably before. So he's a guy that struggled with life, struggled with fame, struggled with success, and unfortunately, he passed away apparently from drowning in a hot tub. More details are not out, but I mean, I think unfortunately the assumption would be that he might have had, some type of substance that caused him to conk out in the hot tub. That's just speculation on my part. But in any regard, he was a great, fun actor. So there was another movie he did, I think, called The Whole Nine Yards. That was pretty fun. And so, shout out to the spirit of Matthew Perry. But let's get into these reviews here. Now, I went to see Killers of the Flower Moon, and I'm just smiling because the movie is so long. It was three and a half, 3 hours and 25 minutes. And so, what's my remedy for going to see a really long movie? Go see another movie right before it. And so then I just kind of warm myself up. So I went to see something called Malibu Horror Story before I went to see Killers of the Flower Moon back to back. I believe this was on Wednesday night of this past week. So I think it actually kind of worked out in a weird type of way. Like I think seeing a shorter movie than a longer movie was good. Um, in some regard, and honestly, I was not expecting much from Malibu Horror Story. I didn't recognize the cast. I was kind of horrored out. I mean, this whole month of Halloween just lends itself to all these horror films, and a lot of older films are being kind of rebroadcast or rehashed, so to speak, presented in the theater. So I wasn't terribly, thinking I was going to love Malibu Horror Story, but it actually turned out to be a pretty damn good movie, especially if you're a horror fan. Once again, I say this all the time, but certain films, most horror fans tend to like, even if they don't love it, they'll see it anyway. With this one, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that this movie was pretty good. It's kind of a found footage thing. There's kind of two elements going on. There's like the 2010s and then like the later 2010s or the early 2020s. Basically, it's about one group of kids goes searching in a cave for the remains of another group of kids, only to discover that now they're in the same bad way as the first group. And of course, when I say the bad way, that means you know uh, terrible demons from the past are going to kill you. So I thought the movie was pretty good, pretty timely. A lot of stuff like uh, social media and things, when those elements are introduced into a movie, like all the characters are codependent on social media and stuff, it tends to turn me off. I don't find, texting on screens is not cinematic in my book and stuff like that. But this movie, definitely contemporary, definitely timely for today's audience. And I thought Malibu Horror Story was actually better than I thought. And interestingly enough, there's a whole storyline in this movie about Native Americans and how they were kind of treated poorly, and their spirits are getting some revenge, which oddly enough kind of tied into Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, this is a big release. This is obviously a movie that's being released late in the year, although not December, because they release the bigger movies like this, the big stories like October, November, especially December, trying to get the Oscar buzz. So you've got your Leonardo, you've got your De Niro, you've got everybody. Interesting to see DiCaprio and De Niro playing uncle and nephew in this one. that was pretty interesting, I thought. And Scorsese at the helm. Scorsese comes out before the movie and does a little welcome to the theater routine. We've seen a lot of those lately. I think they're kind of nice. I mean, Tom Cruise did a good one for Maverick. So the movie starts, and once again, this is going to be like a 3 hour and 27-minute movie. I sat in the back, in the center. I think there was only two people in the theater. It was just a really weird night where the theater was just not very busy. Um, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it's an expansive story. I can't really give all the details. I mean, the details you can find anywhere. Did I like the movie? Yeah, I did. I thought it was interesting to see DiCaprio. I think he's a great actor. In this one, he plays a character who's kind of a good guy, kind of a bad guy, easily influenced by his uncle. De Niro, it's just funny with De Niro. He still does his De Niro looks, like he's still, even in this character from, I guess, like the 1880s or the 19, must have been the 1920s, because they did have cars in this movie. There was vehicles, but the early motor vehicles with no roof, so it looked like the 1920s or the 1930s. So even in this character from 100 years ago, De Niro is still doing the way he looks at people. Um, and the lady Molly, I can't remember her last name, and I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything before, but she's got a big challenge as an actress to go, toe to toe with De Niro and DiCaprio. Not that it's a competition, but just to hold her own in these scenes with these mega powers of acting. I think she did quite well, and nice to see that. The storyline, I guess spoilers, but basically it's, the evil white man once again finds a way to screw over the indigenous people. This time the scheme is, let's this tribe, this Native American tribe has found oil. They're rich, so let's sully their population by marrying their women, getting our white blood on their green money, and then really, what, if you haven't seen the movie, this is the big spoiler. Uh, um, these evil white guys, they marry women and then eventually they kill them off so that they can get their money. So it's pretty sad. And this is a true story, or based on a true story, obviously. I'm not sure, how fast and loose with the truth it was, but it seems like it probably happened as it's described. And I mean, I have no reason to doubt the information in the movie. There's always dramatic license in these things, but we can't escape the guilt. White people, evil white people. So, I like the movie. I mean, I thought it was well told, a good story, well told. There's really some real killer moments in this thing, so to speak, when the wife, she kind of busts the DiCaprio character on poisoning her. That's a real dramatic moment, and a lot of stuff in this movie is very well done. So I give it a big thumbs up. Is it worth a 3 hours and 27 minutes? I think you just have to plan it. You just have to plan and be in the right mood. Michael AJ Norris is checking in. Let me just finish up with this review, and I'll get to your comment, buddy. Um, you have to be in the right mood to see this movie. And like I did, I just had to do something kind of outside the box. I had to go see another movie in order to prepare for this long movie. And I just made it a huge movie day. I think I don't know if that advice would work with most people. I think most people have a hard time sitting through a 2.5 hour movie as it is, let alone 5 hours of movies in one crazy night. But for me, I did like the movie. And I think it's just a deal, like I said, make a day or a night when you have the energy, the mental energy, the time to go see this movie, and, and go see it. There's some type of beeping going on. There's always some fucking thing going on when you're trying to do something. Michael A.J. Norris says, Yo, Mikey, a good friend of mine died. I've known him since 2001. He was a movie guy and writer for it and love wrestling of all kind. Well, I'm sorry to hear your loss, Michael AJ. I mean, that's horrible. I don't know if that was today, um, if that was yesterday or this week, but I'm very sorry to hear that. And I don't know if your friend, if he was a married guy or younger or whatever. Oh, it was today. So, Michael, my buddy here is coming off a huge loss. My condolences, pal. What can you do? I mean, um, yeah, I've had a lot of people die close to me in recent years, and it never gets easier. It's just tough. And I think the only thing we can learn from this, or one thing that we can learn from death, is just to appreciate life. Geez, you're making me depressed now, buddy. He was alone in his 50s. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, that's as we get older, we can look around and we say, what have I done with my life? Am I alone? Have I left a legacy? So I mean, stuff like this, hearing about your friend, buddy, it's one of those reminders to me that I have to do things with my life, and maybe that is to you as well. And it's sad, and I try to look at things like not how the person died, but how they lived. And I don't know your friend, but I'm sure that if he was a friend of yours, he was a good guy. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he was alone in his 50s, that's sad, and I don't really know the circumstances of this gentleman, but I feel bad for you and for him, and you know, I mean, I guess it kind of goes to this type of thinking: is do we believe in an afterlife? Do we believe in a life beyond this? I tend to. I mean, there's just too many things that I've seen, heard about, and experienced to make me not. That leads me in the direction of thinking there is something beyond the mortal flesh. What exactly that is, I don't know. I mean, I don't see clouds full of violin players or what's that? Harp players. I don't think you're going to go up to the big heaven and there's clouds and a gate and like I said, a harp player or a violin player or a flute player. I mean, what happens when those? I mean, don't they get tired of playing the harp all the time? I mean, how many people they got playing the harp up there? You know what I mean? I mean, where are all these qualified harp players? Anyway, buddy, I don't know. It does make you kind of sad. He didn't like Vince. He thought he was out of touch. He was hurting the business, and he needed to walk away completely. That Triple H and kids knew better, but he had too much of the ego to let it go. Well, it sounds like your friend was pretty intelligent. He sounds like he was opinionated, like myself, and he knew what he knew about wrestling, pro wrestling, and WWE. And so, at least now he doesn't have to suffer through any more Vince McMahon booking. I mean, if that's any warped type of way of looking at this thing, but I do feel bad for your friend there, and I'm sure that he's got friends like you and family that will miss him and so forth. Uh, so that's very tragic, buddy. Well, also the World Series is going on. I don't know if other people make a point of seeing this thing. I do. I mean, it's game two. Last night went into extra innings. I actually did go to the NXT show last night. I was booked to go tonight. Booked as in I bought a ticket, like a fan, like a mark. And I didn't end up going. I'll tell you why. I just had a weird kind of a sleep schedule type of thing. Like my sleep was off. And then I kind of botched my accommodations. I thought I was kind of centrally located between these two NXT locations, and the reality was I wasn't. And apparently, right now, it's probably because this is SeaWorld Horror Halloween Week. Um, the the traffic is really bad, like here in Orlando right now. So hence, it's a little bit tougher to move around than I thought. So anyway, Michael AJ Norris seems to have left the venue, but once again, my condolences, buddy. Well, folks, that's it. I didn't give too many details on these movies. I mean, I liked them both. Um, I liked both the Malibu Horror Story for what it is, and also the DiCaprio Scorsese Killers of the Flower Moon. If anything I didn't like about the Killers of the Flower Moon, it was probably the title. I don't know if the title it's hard to remember. There's too many big nouns in it. I think a title should have at the most two big nouns. Reminds me of a script that I've written, Wrestling with Sanity. I mean, you have wrestling, you have sanity. With this movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, it's like you got too many things going on. You got killers, you got flowers, and you got a fucking moon. And it's like this is just too much stuff. going on for one title. I mean, I don't know how you could rearrange that. I mean, I don't know if just the Flower Moon would be okay or whatever the fuck. But I feel like the title was just. I guess the Flower Moon represents the women, the Native American ladies, and then the killers are the DiCaprio characters and the De Niro characters, the uncle and nephew, and all these other jerks that are killing them off. But I don't know. The title just not. I don't think it's a good title. I don't know what I'd title it instead. Married to Death or something. I don't know. Anyway, folks, that's about it. I'm going to call it. Have a good weekend or whatever's left of it.